In a world of dark and crazy, we bring light, not lazy. Heather Summer on the call, smiles and love for all. Friends unite to fight the lies, truth be told under the skies. No more cults to bind us tight, we'll spread kindness, shine so bright. Love the face is plain to see, kindness is always free. Countdown to cartology, dance with us, set your spirit free.
Hi, everybody.
I timed you out, hella bored, for 10 seconds. I savaged you on accident. I apologize. I did it right off the rip. I was trying to say hey to hella bored. And of
You might want to
course,
turn your sound down too, because I can hear it.
yeah, I know. I was just doing that. I'm like,
Teddy wants
so
to
yeah, so it's much easier when I go into the phone to do it. So
Hi,
hella
everybody.
bored. When you get back, starting off strong, Summer. Thank you, Marina. Yeah. So,
Hi, everyone.
Hella bored. Where are you, baby? Hella bored. Hella bored.
Come back. Anyway,
come back.
hi, everybody.
Anyway, hi, guys.
Happy Tuesday. First of all, Summer got a job.
Summer got the job she wanted. Doo-da.
So,
I trained this weekend, and I start working the very next day. Booyah. 2 days of training, and it's over. And I'm like, yes, perfect. It's beneficial.
And quick programming note, our game night this week will be Friday night. My dad's birthday was yesterday. It's the first birthday since his passing. And we're celebrating as a family on Saturday. So we won't be able to do it on Saturday. So we'll do it on Friday. So keep your eyes open, and we may have a few surprises.
And all the love will be with you, babe. From us to you.
Thank you. Let's do the boring part real quick. You ready?
Don't be a douchebag, or we won't have to kick you out.
Don't be a dick.
Because I will savage your ass right straight up out of here. Any disrespect to me, Heather, or our guest, our esteemed rock star, second generation, badass chickadee guest will get your ass thrown out of here so quick that your ass will be on fire. Period. Packing you up with jet fuel.
All views expressed by us are exactly that. Our opinions don't come at us. Here's our email address. We have a Facebook group.
Indeed.
We have a merch store.
Yes, we do.
Trigger warning. Be mindful that sensitive topics may be discussed. If you need to step away, it's okay. We'll see you next time. Please show the love, like, and subscribe. Also, we are monetized finally. We have memberships. So yay! And then I'm going to leave this scrolling at the bottom here. So please, if you have any questions on either Lara's chat or Cultology's chat, please type question before your question so that we can see it and star it because Lara will be answering questions.
Yes.
So let's say hi to let's say hi quickly to a few people. Hi,
hey, everybody. Jane. We love you all.
Hi, Nanya.
Hi,
Minion.
No, that's Minion 52. Oh, there's a bunch of minions. Nico.
52. Minion.
Liz. Hi, babes. One love, 51,000. That's a Lara chatter. Hey, girl. Always helping me with the trolleys, too.
Marina.
She's always like, so-and-so's a troll, Summer. I'm like, thank you.
Poet's here. Hey, Poet.
Maureen, hi. Marina.
April.
Haggis Basha. April.
Nance Drew.
Psych. Chuck. Psycho No Rocks. Minion.
Tiny Ghost.
Girl? I don't know where I am. Who's your girl? I'm shouting out all the people on Lara's channel too. Haggis Basha.
North Texas Angel. Hey. Cajun. Hey.
Oh God, you're way ahead of me.
Tiny Ghost and Lorena. I think we already said hi. And
so call tender.
Hello. Hold on one second. My dog is acting a fool.
So hey everybody, we're thrilled you're here. Come on in, have a seat. Grab your tea. Before
we bring this amazing person on, if you have been living under a rock and you don't know who LaraFM is, she was raised in the Scientology Sea Org and at the Ent Ranch. She left. The rest of her family is still in Scientology. She is an amazing rock star. She started in a group called Little Red Radio, and then ventured out into her own awesomeness. And she's currently helping try to bring down this horrible cult because kids cannot freaking consent, y'all. And without further ado, Miss LaraFM. Muted, darling. You're muted, Lara.
Oh no! I did this whole thing.
You did the whole bell thing?
Woo! And without further ado, me.
Without further ado, me.
I love that. I laugh every time when you're like, if you've been under a rock. I just love that. I love that about anything. In case like this is a very obvious thing.
Yeah.
If you haven't, and we've been trying to do this fun interview, sort of chit chat, sort of talk about, just everything.
Yeah.
And I've always watched you guys. I love your games. I'm learning from your games. I know that's stupid, but I'm actually learning from the games, which I realize I'm not at the level to play games with you guys on every single cultology game night you guys have had. I'm like, maybe got one thing right. Like out of the thousands of different games and subjects and everything, I swear. So I was like, okay, that I'm not doing cultology game night.
No, like we've done things like when you haven't been here, like Scientology lingo and like.
Oh, okay. I probably was like, okay, I'll laugh off out of that one.
We make up trivia as we go along, and we've been doing it for 3 months now. So
I know that's how I know. That's why I'm like, oh, good. But I think that probably like the Sea Org lingo, I did see that, and most of the time I'm at work or something, or I'm in the middle of something where I can't watch, and I have to watch for some of the things. Some of your guys' things are like visuals or like, like, so I can't anyway. So, and then never stupid, just don't know. Yeah, exactly. That's true, Liz. Not stupid, if you did, I just don't know. Ow,
like
I have
you and Liz
were
talking about it, like you and Liz were talking about how you didn't have access to a television. And it was like the other night when we were doing, I don't know what it was, 80 sitcoms, was it?
Mm-hmm. OMG. And I thought I was going to be good at it.
Am I stupid?
I was like, I'm here, like, 80s, 90s.
Yeah, I mean, just because we grew up in that time doesn't mean we were all glued to the tube, you know?
And I'm such an 80s, 90s, like, supporter in all sorts of ways. I realized like, I really just need to own up and realize that I don't know 80s, 90s TV shows or like pretty much anything that was on a television at that time, which is insane. It was only music. So if I didn't visually see the Spice Girls, I would have to go steal the VHS that Lauren Hollander somehow got approved by an executive to have if she can only watch it on the weekends, and if ethical people were the only ones allowed to watch it, so they wouldn't get aberrated or whatever.
We have a lot of fun talking about music, me and you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Music is my love language. Like, it's totally my thing.
And I would love it to be able to be like, so what was the reasoning for Alanis Morissette's, blah, blah, blah. And this time, because I can know, I know every song, and I even know little like sound quirks. And I'm like, do you all hear this in this song? Like, I'll bring up like a certain part in a song, and I'm like, what is that sound right there? And it's like the weirdest sound. And people are like, I don't know. That's weird that people would do cool. And then you find out later it's some like, I was in the kitchen swirling some whoosh whoosh around with things, and I said, hey, got the producer in here and told them, the producer was like, wait, I like that sound. That's what we need.
Yeah. Phineas does some awesome behind the scenes. Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother does some awesome behind the scenes where he's like, you know, this weird sound in Bad Guy that everyone loves? This is actually the beeping at the light on the corner that we just thought was really cool. So we recorded it and then like up-tempoed it and changed the tone. And I'm like,
back in the day, they didn't have a big mixer.
Things I wouldn't have thought
That's
of.
what I'm saying. Like,
They,
to
like,
me, I'm like,
used to
I don't
beat
care if
drums
Billie
and-
Eilish's, you know, producer did that. It's not as exciting as it was in the 80s and the 90s.
And
Like,
the
we have
70s
access.
and the
Look, we're making our
60s.
own studios right here, right here. We all have our own studio right here.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
like,
The
you know.
70s is my favorite because I'll listen. I play cards with my elderly roommate every night. We have a little tokey toke.
You play cards?
Yeah, I play cards with my roommate every night.
I need to send you the LaraFM card.
Oh my God.
Right now, I'm going to send Heather. I'm sending Heather and Summer. You both are getting your card packs.
Yes, I need a pack.
Absolutely. I love cards. Cards are so therapeutic in so many ways. I guess everything's therapeutic.
And she won't listen to anything but 60s or 70s. So I'm like, put it on the 70s, put it on the 70s, put it on the 70s. Because I'm like a child of, I'm like the child of like Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd and just all the hippie. And then
so
my brother.
When I hear the 70s and that kind of stuff, first of all, it took me like, I don't even really specifically know when I realized there was the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Because everything to me was a blur on music, because here I am digging trenches or harvesting vegetables or painting or scrubbing the sidewalks or whatever fucking jobs, right? If we were lucky, there was somebody with a radio or a parent that had an expensive, you know, that was rich or whatever they did before they joined the Sea Org. So they had some money. They were able to get, you know, they're able to somehow get Becky Hughes or Lindsay Hughes, these big radios. And so we're able to, there's just certain times we were allowed to listen to music and not.
Yeah.
And to hear that music, to hear even just a song playing, I wouldn't know. I didn't fully know who the artist was until maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I was out of the Sea Org, but still, because it did, when you leave the Sea Org, you're not going right to like, oh, you're not like that. Well, actually I was on the computer. I kind of make that a thing in the Learning Loving where I'm like, ooh, let's look up who LaraFM is. You know, that's what it would be in my mind. But in the real world, I was looking up like Lisa McPherson. I was looking up things I was not supposed to be. So I was so afraid to type anything. In fact, it made so much sense when I left. I realized, oh, duh, they knew I was out ethics, because I was like, why do they think I'm just off the rails? I'm like barely doing anything bad. Like, and I guess they were able to go and look on the computer and see, instead of looking for a job, they were seeing what I was looking up. And so I just didn't know that you could do that. Like, I didn't know I didn't know to cover that up in my tracks, you know? Anyways, long story longer, the radio
thing,
sorry, the musicking and the radio thing was a lead, music has always been a lead for me to question things. Like, why did Alanis Morissette talk about this? Why were the Beatles? Why was this? Why did, you know, I was always like, and then I was like, who sang that song? You know, like, it's a cruel, cruel, cruel summer. I was like, oh, Cruel Summer. Look, oh my God, yes, this is the song. And so then I would know, right? So I love how Summer already knew who that was. I just love
all of it. I know all of it.
It would be so fun. So I definitely, on one of these cultology things, y'all have to invite me to be a semi-host / maybe they would be like, okay, Lara, the next song for you to hum and sing or whatever it is. And I could sing just a part of it, and they have to figure it out. Yeah, that would be fun.
We'll have to host the two of us.
Okay, that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
I'll be singing with you.
Ooh, it could be like, Summer, do you know the end of this song? Or I would have to sing it, and it could be like,
how many notes can you figure out this song? Like,
ooh, I would lose. Again, here we go. So I could sing the notes because I can hear them perfectly, but I can't say that's an E flat or a G. I don't know that. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know much about the keys in music. I don't know much about all of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have a question for you, Lara.
Yeah.
When was the moment in your life when you realized that music was such a fundamental part of your being?
Yes. Good question. Like, how old were you?
First of all, I didn't know what fundamental part of my being meant, at any degree, or even as a non-child. So I didn't even understand what the future of my life meant. Right. I didn't think that far. I was always like, get in present time. You're in present time. I think that the first time I enjoyed music and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I hear or make music kind of how... No, that was a little bit later in Little Red Radio where I felt comfortable being like, oh, who cares if I mess up? People like when I go high like that or whatever.
When did you find, maybe the best way to say it otherwise is maybe when did you find that music was something you really loved? Something that gave you an escape. Gave you an escape to listen to
I knew that as a child. I would escape in my mind. I knew that as a 4-year-old at the Int Ranch. Okay, I knew that from as far as I can remember. Is I always enjoyed music. I didn't know that I enjoyed it though. I didn't know that music was an enjoyment. I thought it was just something that was normal for the body to hear. I didn't know that. I thought it was kind of like, not like food, but I just thought it was like air. Like, it's always there somewhere.
Air, music, food.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. I just thought it was sort of natural. I didn't know that I enjoyed music. I thought everybody enjoyed music the way that I did, or the way I heard it, and that people would daydream all the time when a song would go on and have their own daydreams and things like that, which I do believe is true. People do that, but that wasn't happening for sure at the Inn Ranch.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that was just me. Maybe a few other kids that were also space cadets. But yes, I have loved and enjoyed music my whole life from all I can remember. Playing music and doing music is a whole different vibe. It's a whole different thing than just listening and loving a song almost as passionately as the next person next to you. Like,
absolutely,
like private.
Absolutely
everybody has that by themselves, and that's why you become a fan of somebody. Right. You have your own fingerprint of how you view that person, and that's why you like that artist.
And singing it and listening to it are two very
different
things.
Very
different things.
Especially if you don't sing and you're in your shower minding your own little private life, and somebody walks in like, stop singing that song, you're singing it bad. You're like, I wasn't I was trying to have my moment. In my head I was singing it great.
Yeah, shut up about my shower singing.
Anytime I catch one of my friends singing or something, I start singing with them, like, just to like encourage, like, and they're like, oh my God, I sound so shitty compared to you. And I'm like, don't ever say that, because in your head, it's the best.
Right. Oh my God, I love that
especially
song.
In the shower. Or in your car.
With the windows up.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
So after Little Red Radio, how hard was it? Was it difficult to start on a solo career? Was it challenging? Like, what was the...
I never thought I was going to go on a solo career. I actually had a joke about this with my band. It was slightly a little upset, I feel. It was like some of my band members were like, well, my drummer at the time, I think, he was kind of, because he put so much effort into our band, Little Red Radio. He was kind of like our manager, drummer, bandmate, not manager. He just was probably more responsible than me and Jason. And we were like running around living life. We didn't give a fuck, but we were also like, we loved doing music. So we always show up and do the gigs and everything. So, but anyways, what was the question? Sorry.
Going solo. Like, what was that process like?
There was this thing where, Little Red Radio played at Pershing Square. We opened up for A Flock of Seagulls downtown Los Angeles, and and that was like
a
flock of seagulls.
A flock of seagulls.
I run so far away.
I run so far away.
Yep. And I gotta get away.
Yeah.
The guitar, everybody on the live shows at the Flock of Seagulls shows, Joe, I don't know if Joe's still playing guitar with them, but Joe Rodriguez, it was like the drummer would be like, boom, and then the bass player, Pongo, and Joe would be like, and the crowd would be like, yeah, there's riffs and sounds that just like were so magnetic at that time. Anyway, so yeah, they were playing the Pershing Square downtown, and Little Red Radio. Thank you to Corinda and the bosses and everybody at the time. These were fans of Little Red Radio and they were supporting us. They got us the gig to open up. They were like, oh my God, we need like a party band to, open up for this cool, the 80s band. And then I guess I come across as very 80s and 90s, whether I'm solo or as, I mean, I was at the Ant Ranch in the middle of nowhere.
Come across to me as like a Blondie Joan Jett hybrid with a beautiful
I feel like Joan Jett and Blondie were more feminine than I am. I know that sounds crazy, but
no.
Even though I just did my nails.
See,
I feel like they had this more. I don't know. I feel like I have a more punk. I don't know. Joan Jett. I don't know. Even in Joan Jett, she's still, when I watch her perform, even in the old videos, I'm like, she still has this feminine punk, and I feel like mine's very masculine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what 30, 40 years will do. To those two. I mean, we're talking the 70s and the 80s, and now it's the 2020s. So obviously, you're much evolved from those two.
I feel like I feel more like a boy band 90s, 80s singer, rocker, Hairspray band singer than I do like Joan Jett and Blondie. That's more my vibe, like how I feel internally. Like I feel like Rod Stewart with a pussy. I don't know. Like I just. That's more, but then I love having my, kind of Madonna-esque, and I'm not saying Madonna I'm just saying in her 90s old 90s style. That's very much the only thing currently that I'm liking about Madonna, but like that kind of vibe where I'm a mix of all these weird concoctions. And remember that I wasn't allowed to like choose the channels and the music that I was allowed to listen to. It was older cadets or the adults that had the radios or I just heard what I heard. And so it would be 80s at the time or 90s music, like metal or pop or rock. So it was all kinds of music. It would be Tupac if the executives weren't around, etc.
Yeah. Dr. Dre and Biggie.
Well, no. And the other thing is also with the titles. I didn't know the names or the titles. Maybe we knew Alanis Morissette, things like that.
Right.
But Alanis Morissette, which makes sense now, also sold out more records at the time as a female artist than the Beatles. Do you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Do the research.
She's amazing.
Oh my baby, I'm so sorry, Fox. Give me here. She's like, no, here, take my boat. Come here, I wasn't trying to take your boat.
Oh, hi, Foxy.
Look, say hi to
Hi, Foxy.
Hi, Foxy.
Okay, go ahead. She's like, I'm over here. She was just like enjoying my voice talking. She likes sitting next to me when I do my live stream.
Yeah,
it's almost like she's part of the conversation.
There's mine.
Underneath you.
Okay,
look,
so
I
forgot where I was or where you guys were with us. Me and Summer can just be talking over each other.
We can
love
talk
it.
over each other about music all day. So
Doctor Who Heather's politely like, and sliding into questions.
Like, okay, next.
Well, there's a couple questions from the audience.
Yeah, there are.
The first one is, it's from Haggis Basher. I saw you dancing in one of the Scientology movies. Do you still dance?
I saw you dancing in one of the Scientology movies. Oh, you mean like one of the documentary or something?
I'm assuming so, yeah.
I love dancing. I fucking love dancing. Yeah. Again, it's got to be music that it can't be. I find every reason. If somebody says, oh, we have a 90s dance DJ night, 90s, 80s, 90s dancing night, or it's just DJing 80s, 90s, I'm like, I'm in.
Yes.
To me, that's it. If it's at a bar, dance floor, like they have, what is it over here? It's like a hole in the wall dance bar. I forget what it is because I need to know right now. And they just say, Tuesday nights, 80s nights, 90s nights dance, and it's just DJs. And I'm like, that's a reason to go to the bar, have alcohol, have your drink, whatever. I used to also
your decade.
there was a time when I was on whatever. I wasn't allowed to drink for like 3 months, and I would go out dancing, and I realized, oh my God, I don't have to have alcohol every time I go out to dance. That's how I knew I love dancing so much.
I don't drink either, and I'll go out dancing anytime.
I loved it. Yeah. So yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I do dance. I love dancing. I wished honestly that my mom would have introduced me and let me know more about her ballet. She never talked about it. It was like, if you do good, I'll show you a picture of my ballet. I'll bring out the ballet pictures. I'll show you them, but not for too long because we have to catch the bus run in 15 minutes. But you finish your cleaning station, so I'll let you do it on our family time. Our 2-hour family time. Anyways, so yes, I love dancing. I said earlier that I would have been like a gymnast or like a Olympian or something. I really would have. I have an athletic body. I could have been. And so I really felt like I could have been a really insane dancer or something. I was addicted immediately to Michael Flatley. In fact, I think that's the video.
Lord of the Dance.
Lord of the Dance. I think that's the video you might have seen me dancing in as a kid. I was dancing we were doing some PR dances from like the Scientology kids to the Indians, the Native Indians, so that the PR for the kids in the ranch and Scientology would get better. So we all did this PR shit. And yeah, it was anyways, going on a roll, guys. This is what happens when you ask me questions about my childhood and music.
Amen.
Well, speaking of music.
Kind of sort of has a question.
Yeah.
What are Lara's favorite bands? I'm still a Duran Duran girl. And of course, LaraFM. I love me some Duran Duran too.
I love Duran Duran.
Some George Michael.
Love George Michael. What are my favorite bands?
That's just too hard of a question for me. I need a piece of paper and a half an hour.
I mean, I have a notepad. I have a notepad and a sticky pad. I can start writing them down now.
I need a piece of paper and a pen.
Yeah, for me, it depends on what point in my life.
Right.
Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, it was something like there's something like that.
Every song has a memory.
Yeah, because there was times I came back to music and I appreciated it more now. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so glad that I even was able to listen to this or that this type of stuff was on the airwaves. Oh, look, it goes with the thing.
Yeah.
This type of stuff was on the airwaves. You know, this music at the time. And the reason I always goes to my timing of when I was born and why was I born and why was I brought to the ranch and held from the world. But I was listening to this music and da 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 da. And I stole these CDs and I got written up for stealing Becky's radio and playing it when I shouldn't have been. Things like that. Like,
that's so on brand.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I'm gonna steal that music.
Haggis says I met Alanis at the gym.
That's cool.
Canada, yeah.
In Canada,
that's crazy.
And then she was Canadian, and I find out, you know, it's all like I loved Alanis more because I was like, wow, and I did research on her, and I spent hours watching her documentaries and her interviews where she's talking about her depression and her life and being famous and all the crap that came with it. And I was like, God, it like diverted me from wanting to be famous. And like, so all these things like just slowly help me mold me into like the decisions I'm making today. So it's pretty fucking insane.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Crazy as Stand Against Fear and Exploitation says, love you all.
Crazy needs me to call her. But I said, once I'm done with cultology, I feel like the best thing to do is just do a live stream with Crazy Love so that she can just let it all out and then I can let it all out and we can all be on there together. So Crazy Love, you're next, sweetie pie. You're next in my long list of nexts.
Oh my goodness.
And
gracious.
everyone remember to write question before your question so we can see it easier.
Yeah.
Here's one from Mom Kelly too. Question, Lara, when did you know Scientology was a cult?
I was watching something. What was I watching? I think I was watching, and it's pretty recent actually. I was watching some weird movie. It's super creepy. I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about the moment I start talking about it. It was like very flowery, like lots of flowers in the fields, and the person like walks off the cliff and like dies, unalives themselves because they're going to the thing, and the like an old lady or somebody has to do it every once in a while or something. There's some movie. It's very culty, and I was like, for some reason, I was able to separate like auditing. I was like, it's different, but auditing does this. Auditing makes people into like courses and all this, turns them into this spell and the smiles and stop that end theta, knock off. That's
Midsummer?
LPR.
I was thinking
Midsummer,
about
something that sounds Midsummer. I think it's Midsummer.
Rebecca, but Rebecca's a
remake. Midsummer. It came out like 4 years ago, maybe 5 or something.
Okay.
Did it? Am I right?
Yeah.
Midsummer.
It sounds right.
That. Yeah, that sounds very. I know that's a movie.
And I was seeing with somebody who I had known from Scientology. No, it might have come out like 6 years ago or more. Because I was seeing with, and I had told them like, yeah, I'm starting to break away from that. And she was like, wow, that's so cool. She was like, I've always tried to, stay away with it. And she's not in it, but she definitely has deep connections and probably friendships that she's not going to let go of because she has a softer way, whatever. Doesn't matter. But the point is I went to go see with her, and I was like, I was telling her, this is the mindset of Scientology. I was like so blown away that a culty movie like this could be played all over. And I'm like, people, I don't know. I felt like it showed me like, this is a cult movie. I understood what a cult was. And then in a new unit of time, for some reason, that movie made me go, the intenseness of Scientology is the exact same as this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had seen The Master, I had seen all those films. Have you seen
The Circle, the one with Tom Hanks and The Circle?
The Circle, that sounds so familiar.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
It's got
The Circle.
Emma, it's either Emma Watson or it's either the Harry Potter Emma or it's Emma Roberts.
It sounds familiar.
Julia's The
Circle.
But
I was thinking Planet Earth or something like that.
To work at this place, and it's basically a big cult. And
I haven't seen it. No.
Yeah.
Hashtag jealous.
But Tom Hanks is the leader. It's pretty good. It's a good movie. Good movie.
Can you get it?
Yeah. I got it. I got it. All the way here.
I got it.
Just want to make sure my chat gets high with me.
Indeed.
Never in from PA. I vaguely remember DOA mentioning that you've played festivals in the past. Which ones did you play, and what was your favorite? In fact, I think
played a few. Yes.
Pearl told me that she saw you in Little Red Radio. Was that at South by Southwest?
Yep. Nice. And that was like 8 years ago. I don't know. A while ago. Oh my
God.
Yeah.
It's a small world.
Yeah, so I played
small world
after all. It's a small world. I've played a bunch of shows with Little Red Radio all over the United States, like all over. Cool. We did a sort of, in fact, that tour, being in Little Red Radio made me know that I could do this last tour, even if it was just a cute, fun, small tour and see how it goes kind of tour as just LaraFM. For me, that was a big deal to just do it because that's how it was for our band, Little Red Radio. We were just like, if we need to get gas, then we fucking sell merch right there and get the gas to go to the next show. We're just going to be in the moment. And we were still in our Scientology mindset. Like my drummer at the time was raised, still had Scientology family in it, etc. So like the band was still in that mindset, like make it go right, make it happen. We'll just make it go right. So yeah, that definitely doing that with my band and going to South by. We went to South by Southwest twice, I think. And one of the shows we went there with only like one or two like actual shows, and we ended up getting like 5 shows while we were there because we were just wild, crazy ass fuckers. And even there at South by, we opened up for Hugo. It's this I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. They do this like jazzy version, like whatever. And Jay-Z had signed them. What? Yeah, no, Jay-Z had signed this band. I think he still has. And so that was the first time I had physically seen Jay-Z. I didn't know who I didn't understand that he was like big or famous at the time. Right. I didn't understand or whatever. I knew he was famous. I just didn't understand the industry. I was so busy having fun in this wild, South by Southwest, adventure in my Little Red Radio band that I didn't even think people cared about us. But
Pearl was all, yes, I saw Lara and JC
at the same place. It was like this crazy trend, and I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, cool. And and that was nothing. I saw him playing, Hugo just playing how he played. I knew the song, didn't know Jay-Z, right? So no faces, nothing, but knew the song. So I was like, you see me like singing in the front, and I'm like, okay, we're going up. Yeah. So funny.
That's kind of like listening to Fish play Gin and Juice, not knowing it's a Snoop Dogg song. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the same kind of thing. It's like,
so I learn. I've been learning and loving, and I didn't even know.
Exactly.
It was like Summer had this conversation with her nephew where she was like, this song Toto by Weezer? Or sorry, Africa by Weezer? You know that a group named Toto did it originally. Have you ever heard of that song?
He was like, yeah, I've heard the original too. I just like Weezer a lot. And he's awesome. Awesome.
I pull those a lot.
He's like, I just really like Weezer and Summer, okay?
Okay, wait. So let me finish that question really quick about the who, how. So Little Red Radio, we played a bunch of fucking shows, literally. And I got some of the gigs. Is that your dog, Summer?
Yeah.
Yes, and I can't shut him up.
Well, then you're going to have to mute your cute ass for a tiny.
Okay, I'm going to close the door and see if that helps.
I have trained my dog so that this does not happen.
Can you come train my dog? Thanks.
Yes. There, at least it's muted a tiny.
Not my dog. My dog is sitting across from me being completely quiet.
You've just gotten immune to. Oh, that's the other dog.
It's not my dog. But love y'all.
Look at us, guys. We all have buns. This was not planned. I actually, not gonna lie, had 2 buns. They're soaking wet because I got out of the shower. I was like, I need to reset before I get on this stream. And I had 2 buns to be all cute. And then my hair, when it dries, it gets like fluffier and blonde. And the buns look like 2 little, I just look like bald in the back. And I was like, no, this looks stupid. And so I quickly just put it in one. And then I came on, I was like, we all have buns.
I know.
Okay. So anyways, back to the things. Yeah, we played a bunch of shows all over the United States in that band, but also festivals. And then I went on tour with Flock of Seagulls as I was leaving, quote, there we go, the solo. So the leaving Little Red Radio, I started doing music with Mike, the singer of Flock of Seagulls. And so the band, when I was showing, we were going out and doing shows just in LA again, back in our local areas, after tour. And they were like, whoa, I was showing them the songs I was doing with Mike, which was like, You Got Me Now. And they were like, dang, these are like really good. They were like, kind of like, shit. Like, it seems like you're probably going to be famous and leave us. And I was like, guys, it's not like that. They were always, and then, and Eli had also been doing music and drums. And I was like, no, it's not like that at all. We kept doing that. We kept doing shows. And then I went to New York and did a whole New York album with the guy's friend at the time that I was dating or partly dating, whatever. And then went to Savage is gonna savage it at a few. And then so I did a whole like kind of disco sort of album that nobody knows about, that's not released, that I haven't done anything with, because I learned about contracts and producer credits and rights. And I got a lawyer and they're like, whatever you do not sign this. They keep changing the contract. And whether it was the lawyer doing it or the producers, either way at the time, it wasn't going to work for me. I was like, no, I got triggered by Sea Org contracts. So I was like, nope, I'm not signing anything. Oh my God, why do I have to sign? And so either it doesn't matter if I mess that up or today it's a blessing that I didn't do that, etc. Right. Mm-hmm. But I still have all the songs and so maybe I'll go produce them with somebody. And anyways, so then with those, I was in New York doing a few shows. I did then doing my own music the whole time. I was always still working. So like I went and did a bunch of shows with Mike in England and in LA, all the way up. Like we did shows across the United States again. So it was like I kept being on tours with so many different styles of music. Next was my stuff, just doing shows here in LA and local sort of outside shows with LaraFM music that some people have heard online, and some of it I never released. Some of it I was doing like the disco music that I did in New York, but was just doing it live shows, I had never released the music. So some people had seen me doing like, oh yeah, I don't know, you were singing, and it's amazing when I have a fan that was like, yeah, no, I've been watching her since Little Red Radio days or whatever, right? And they'll be like, yeah, I saw her at the One Eye Gypsy and she was singing her like disco, and I'm like, wow, that was because that was only like a year span of time where I was doing those. Anyway, so yeah, I was doing a bunch of shows. Then I went on tour with Madame Gandhi, Kieran Gandhi. She's still one of my sweet best friends. I was helping her book, manage, do everything, like just being that right person that's like, do this, go book this, bring these, we need these. Like doing the merch, selling the merch, and I'm her best friend. So we're like, right. It's just like it was just so much experience, but also my whole Sea Org experience being in Scientology was able to sort of be useful for her, kind of where she was already in the industry. She's signed to a label. She had these sort of, already, and I'm learning like, okay, so this is the only reason I started just learning things like going to festivals. So we played, I can't even remember half the festivals. Some of them were in
festivals. Some
fun. Of that, I have all the shirts. Roskilde Festival in freaking Copenhagen. We went out, I have done it all now. We had one-off shows. It's not just with her. I've done it. We were opening up for Black Eyed Peas and like Cold War Kids on New Year. They're in Little Red Radio. We were doing one-off shows like openers where we would meet these people. What's his name? Seth from Crazy Town. You're my butterfly, sugar, baby, come baby. My lady, come my lady. And to me, I was like, I listened to that song all the time, and I was told I wasn't allowed to listen to it. And so like to be able to be on tour with him or be opening and friendly, it just felt as a young, leaving the Sea Org and coming into the world where I was like, oh shit, I really just have to like figure out my own life. And if I want it to be artsy and fun, then I need to start meeting people that I like and work with. And so when I met people that I liked and would work with and have fun and crack jokes and kind of be that buddy sister, like where it was like I wasn't being looked at as a sexual object. It was just fun and like to hang with me, and they just got me. They got it. And so I would have my individual relationships with some of these people, and those people would lead me to other people. And it was just interesting. Like I did when we opened up for just like how it happened with opening up for Flock of Seagulls. When I opened up for Black Eyed Peas, the Little Red Radio band at the Conga Room at LA Live, it was like an after party for their show. So they were performing, and we were the opening like party band to keep everybody at the Conga Room having fun. And so we nailed it like as a freaking anyways. And then I met Apple through doing the shows. I met Apple through Black Eyed Peas. And then I did 2 songs with him in his personal studio in freaking LA. So like, there's so many people that I've done so many things like this with. Nice. And then I feel like I think my favorite was going on tour with Kieran, Madame Gandhi, because of the experience of knowing her as a friend, knowing that she had the credentials. Yeah, we love that word. When I was like, excuse me, and where's your credentials? We would always be joking to each other. They'd be like, Madame Gandhi, your credentials? Do you need your credentials? And she would laugh so hard. But anyways, and just playing with like the industry and kind of just saying, hey, we'll play your game, but we don't have to be so strict with like needing to sign your rules, needing to sign contracts. That's how I felt for me. Absolutely. That I could have it. I could see that she has certain things that she has to be like set to, that she has to show up for, that whatever, right? And I was wondering if there was a way that I could do that. So the LaraFM tour for me was a big deal because even if it was just a test run to me in my head, it was doing it and seeing it how it went and how it felt, and that I could do it without being attached to the world of contracts and labels. And that to me was already a cool success.
If you can make it to Texas, I can get you from Louisiana all the way to Virginia.
I'm going to Texas. Oh, nope.
I mean,
and
I can get the whole.
Oh, we're going to Texas, and it's going to be soon. So speaking of South by Southwest, that's one thing that that's what we're shooting for, is going to South by Southwest, LaraFM, and we're going to hopefully get Surge and Colorado. We're going to get Surge and Selfless out there. I would love to get Tim, the violinist. Everybody loves him. Yes. I would love to get Eric LeVay if he can come and guitar. That would be amazing. Yeah. So we're going to see. So we're literally working on all of that stuff right now.
I hear you now have a saxophone player in the
I mean, it would be my honor, but it's definitely his choice. And I am not forcing him to do anything, because that's the worst. If anybody feels forced or whatever, I feel like, no, this is awkward. It has to just be fun and chill. So whatever he wants, whatever he decides, he will decide. I'm sure that will be his choice.
Lara, you have a $5 super chat.
You do indeed.
Oh, DT. She's just leaving us a little note on the windshield again.
Yeah.
Like she did on the tour. That was
Do you care about baseball, Laura?
Yeah. What do you mean? I like going to the baseball games. So do you and Liz have a friendly
versus the Dodgers in the World Series of baseball?
I mean, I'm gonna go for LA Dodgers. That's just
of course. Right. So do you and Liz have a little side bet?
That's we need it, Liz.
She's a Yankees fan.
Liz can jump in on here anytime, and
I know Liz can jump up in here anytime she wants to. She has that. She has the information to get back here. So
she has the powers.
She has the OT powers. She has the OT powers up in here.
There's
that's a good question, Peter. They probably should have a good $10 bet on that.
My name is LA. Lara Anderson. My initials are LA. I was born in LA. I gotta go with the Dodgers. There's no way. Even if the Dodgers sucked, I would still go with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I'm LA native. Sorry.
Peter had a question earlier.
My sweet Yankee babies.
Did he?
Yep.
What else did Peter have?
Lara, what was your first vehicle, make, model, year, color, and some story you want to share about it?
The first, wait. The first car that was officially mine, that was in my name, was a Dodge Ram green minivan. And I was thinking, cool, I could live in here if I need to and nobody will know, which I did. And I was like, it's just like nobody, like I don't know. I just felt like it looks like a family van. So it's spacious and nobody's going to interrupt me. And it was from a guy that I was like flirting and secretly hooking up with and playing music with. So again, music I did with him that I haven't released. I have so much music in places that people have, and they're just like, someday I'll be huge and famous more than Elvis ever was. But like 50 years from now. Like when I'm about to die, probably. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just saying. And also, I feel like there's a lot of learning and growth and the whole like doing things without a plan because people like it or not, like just doing it because you enjoy it and it looks so beautiful. I think things like that last longer. I think those last and give people, more amazing ideas for art. So I try to do things that like people are afraid to do or shy, like, I'm like, well, use that growly voice, be sexy and still be a woman and hot. Like, what the hell?
It makes some songs.
It emphasizes.
It totally makes it.
Why can't we emphasize ourselves? Who's shutting us down? Yeah. It's sorry, but it's always men going, ew, that's ugly. Or it's like Britney Spears singing low and then them turning her up so that she sounds like a baby doll when she doesn't really.
Oh, baby.
I mean,
I love it. I love it.
Britney has a nice voice by herself. It's just lower. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay. Question from Mimaj. Did Juliette Lewis sing? Did you listen to Juliette Lewis when you were in, and did you ever meet her?
Juliette Lewis and the Licks, I think, is her band name.
Oh,
I
didn't know
never
heard of it.
ever listened to Juliette Lewis when I was growing up in the cadet or anything, and I never knew of her or anything until I just kind of saw her in the celebrity, the Scientology Celebrity Center magazines. She was on like the cover, and then I just thought she always kind of looked weird and like, I don't know, different. Didn't really pay much attention to her other than the fact that she was like a celebrity, and I would see her a lot though, like in Clearwater and random places. Like, I mean, and also in Celebrity Center when I was doing my ethics handlings and freeloaded that from the Sea Org, like doing my amends or whatever.
Yeah.
I would just see a lot of these celebrities and I wouldn't know who they were. And I think that was another thing that made them sort of draw to me, is that I didn't really care because I was so used to not having to care when I was an ethics person. Like, I wasn't allowed to be like fraternizing. So I kind of knew a lot of the Scientology celebrities just in little moments and chunks. And they definitely remember me because I have my own little personality, whether the world likes that or not, in or out of the Sea Org. So it just, I don't know. With Juliette Lewis later, when I left and I was trying to look for jobs, and then I started being in my band Little Red Radio, is when I actually started hearing more about her. And because people would say, oh, she kind of reminds me of Juliette Lewis when I was in Little Red Radio, but also I also knew of her as more of a Scientologist though, right? In my mind. But then I was like, oh, cool. Like, that would be cool if if she wanted to work jam or like hang out or do music. So, and I knew some of her bandmates. So I was like, okay with, I didn't not like her. There was no, it wasn't like I didn't have any resentment toward her in terms of like, oh, you were in the Sea Org and you treated us like shit. I also just felt like she didn't know about the Sea Org. And I felt like she was just sort of blinded by all of this. But that also wasn't true. She does very much know a lot about that. And she has family members. Her stepbrother or half brother, Quillen, is like a homeless, whatever, meth head or whatever you want to call it, whatever. He's definitely on like schizophrenia or something. I don't know what his situation is, but he's on the streets. Literally, like on the streets as like collecting cans and I see him every once in a while. Like, this is a real thing. And this is something she doesn't talk about. Least, Juliette's not talking about Scientology. She's not like and there's so many people that she's had to separate from because they left Scientology or they told her, oh, this person's not good. Like, disconnect for them. So like, yeah, I feel like because she hasn't come out and said, I'm definitely not a Scientologist. I was for a certain part of my life, but I'm not. I think that if you know Scientology and being in the Sea Org, then that is a point, just like Riley, Riley, Lisa Marie's daughter, Danielle Keough. I know her as Riley or whatever. Anyways.
Yeah, Riley Keough.
So just like then, they have to hold this, their roots are in their family. So if you're like, no, I hate Scientology, you're really going like, I'm affecting my roots, my everything I know.
And I was completely unaware. I don't know if she's in, out,
Juliette.
Different.
No, I feel okay.
Riley. I was, when all the stuff came up the last couple of days about
I think Priscilla mentally is still a Scientologist, whether she wants to say that she is or isn't. She still operates and still is under the control and the coverage of Scientology. Like, she is, and that's all there is to it. And Riley feels affected toward that. Riley can't say what she wants to say. She can't say what she feels, and it's better for the family business for her and Riley to just do it how they're doing it. And then later, when Riley has more whatever, like, Riley's taking care of herself. That's what I feel. And Riley has friends that are sickly, deeply in Scientology. And that's where you go, well, then are you a Scientologist or are you not? Well, she has to do things that make her feel that she is and not talk about certain things. So then are you still being controlled by Scientology? Yes.
Yeah.
Is Elvis Presley's family still being manipulated and controlled by Scientology and their money and their finances? Yes. 100%. That is the fucking problem.
Didn't happen until after he was gone. Like she divorced him, but her parents gave her away to him at like 15 to live with him full time because they were military in the 50s. So Priscilla got sold as a child to Elvis. I mean, that's basically, she didn't know any better or different, is what I conclude in my brain.
Sold,
sort of. Maybe.
She also had family. No, there's research where Priscilla definitely knew. I mean, it's generational. It's not just our problem. It's definitely generational. But what we're saying is Elvis definitely made a clear decision about not wanting to be a part of Scientology. He was like, I don't want my money going in here. And what did Priscilla do? What did she do with her daughter? What did she do with her granddaughter? What is she doing? Yeah. Where is Ben? You know, it's very upsetting. And when I've had there's people like Serge and Nora, we've had personal relationships in little moments that were very meaningful because Scientology to them is very meaningful. So like them being in Florida when I was working as a fucking cleaner after I was demoted from CMO, and being able to like go over there and snuck out there pretending like, oh, I'm on my lunch break, knowing that Lisa Marie and Danielle wouldn't know that what a Sea Org schedule is, like, unless you're in the Sea Org. So they were just assuming, oh, she has her break. Oh, cool. And then the president, what's her name? Mary. I forget her name right now. But somebody
will Heather jumping ahead of me.
But like she would come by like, hey, and I'm like, oh, I'm on my lunch break, and she's like, oh, amazing, oh good, look, Lisa's liking that Megan is braiding her hair, and oh my god, they're having a good connection. Oh, maybe this will be the bite, because we control Megan as a cleaner because we've demoted, and look at her, she's doing a good job as a cleaner. We finally got her on a steady role as a public areas cleaner because she's going to cause too much trouble if we. And I also liked it because I was able to have time off. It was crazy. I literally would go run down with Riley and Ben when I was on. I had a day off, and I told Riley because I was friends with it's Georgie Flores and Ben. There's so many, Scott Carr and all these people from Clearwater, little young underage minor kid, you know. They were trying to get them to join the Sea Org. So then I was back on the EPF, and I was like, oh, Scott Carr was on the EPF and Ben, and they were all friends with me. So I got to know them through so many ways. I got to know Riley and all them because I was a CMO messenger, and then below later was a cleaner. And so we all had our own anyway. So I don't know if Riley will ever watch this, or any of the stuff that I will talk about as well in the future. But there was a moment where we were making a dance. We were doing a dance. And I said, Lisa, I was like, oh, I'll braid your guys' hair. And I just finished braiding their hair. And I was like, okay, I have 10 minutes. I was totally lying to them, by the way. I was supposed to be on study hour. It was supposed to be 2-hour study after the dinner break. Or after lunch, it would be 2-hour study. Instead of me being on study, I would be hanging out with them for the 2 hours in their cabanas, saying like, oh yeah, no, I'm supposed to be here, like helping you guys out with you, whatever you need. Anyway, so I was braiding their hair. And I braided Paige's hair, their assistant. And it goes long story because then later when I left the Sea Org to come back, sorry, I'm going to fucking forget my train of thought here. When I tried to come back, when I left the Sea Org, I saw Lisa Marie Presley, Danny Masterson, freaking Tommy Lee, their whole gang at the time, right? Their whole little Scientology clique at this art show downtown. And it was always like, oh, these Scientology art shows. But it was like, you know, like whatever. So we go there and Lisa saw me and she's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh my God, you're not in the Sea Org? Like you were just at Flag braiding my hair a year ago. What are you doing? And I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm out. I was like, I'm out. And I was like, and she was like, so, but what are you doing? Do you need a job? And I was like, yeah. And so she was like, do you want a nanny? Do you want to take care of Ben? And I was like, yeah. Cause she was like, you guys were like buddies. And I was like, they're buddies at the time. I was a little older than them, but I also was in the Sea Org. So I was more mature in their eyes. They were like, oh, look, she's a cool Sea Org member.
Right.
Anyway, so then I went to get that job and that didn't happen because later Paige Dorian, their assistant, was like, "You're ex-SO and you're trying to get a job. Oh my God, we got this report." Anyways, it was really bad. And I was like, I went to like, oh my God, I'm possibly going to get the best job and it's going to be so fun because I'm going to be so used to working all the time anyways, but I'll be taken care of and I won't have to worry about anything. And then the next thing I know, I'm like, security from Flag is calling me like, "Were you talking? Did you try to get a job? Did you remember signing a contract that said you wouldn't do that?" So they were like, all the underage contracts that I don't even remember signing because I was so fucking hypnotized.
I guess that'd be the Sea contract.
Yeah, no. But like, even when we were leaving, they said you are not allowed, something like you are not allowed, you signed that you will not contact out any of your connections that you've known from Scientology or Sea Org. You will not contact them whatsoever to get a job, to do anything. They literally make it so hard for you when you leave. You're not allowed to use. So that's another thing. We always feel this like threat of like, oh, I don't want to get too close to Juliette Lewis or too close to John Travolta anymore, even though I could say my mom knew him before, like things like that. Like I felt afraid because I didn't want to get declared.
Oh,
look at me now. Anyways, I wandered off from 10 questions, but that is what happened. So
it's all good.
Elizabeth has a question. On Wendy's interview, Lara mentioned her aunt in Scientology. How did her family get involved in Scientology? Parents brought in siblings, or aunt and uncles brought in her mom and dad?
Let's leave that up there so I don't lose train of thought, because then I can answer it visually really quick.
Okay.
Yes, my aunt, Patricia, Pat Filippi is her full name. Patricia Filippi. I call her Auntie Pat. She works at last I know that she works at the Canadian organization in Toronto. She's the Flag staff member IC. The field staff member. That means she's in charge of all these outside Scientology auditors that are in Canada and Toronto, all over Canada. She is the commanding officer of the field staff members. So she's making sure all these field staff members are auditing people and bringing in money that are auditing people out in the field, like not directly in the organization. But like, for example, I heard that Emily Armstrong was getting auditing from a field staff member. So she doesn't have to come into the organization. She feels more comfortable. That means you're a fucking hardcore Scientologist.
She's on the road insane. And she has an auditor with her on the road.
Yeah. So
that's hardcore.
What the fuck? You are literally getting programmed while you're on the road, being this plant that you were put in the position to manipulate this band to make them feel like you were the one for this band.
I really like Linkin
See how
Park.
I just fucking
really upset me.
Yeah, and the fucked up thing is
off.
Emily could be shining such an amazing light on all of this if she were to just confront it, open up her eyes, and really disconnect from the fucking people that have been holding her down, like her own mother who works in OSA, who transcribes the fucking L. Ron or David material to make it sound better. The Freedom magazine, like the editor.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
Okay, so Lara mentioned her aunt. Yes, she's in Canada. How did her family get involved with Scientology? My mom brought my sister. My mom brought her sister, my aunt, as an example. She just saw at the last 10 years, my aunt has gotten the most involved in Scientology. And the last 10 years I've been leaving and getting not involved. Right. So it went from like my favorite sweet aunt to, oh God, she's getting sucked in. And then she's being pulled. Like she came to the Los Angeles org, spent her whole, she spent money on retirement, donating her retirement money, donating to the IAS and everything while being down here, and only got to OT3 or whatever. So she went back to Canada and is now the commanding officer, field staff member, working full-time there, and then also has a part-time job, apparently, so that she can continue making money while to pay the bills.
So she spent her retirement to find out about Xenu, is what you're telling me.
100%. And then not only that, she's getting an example from my own mother because she's like, oh my God, look, my, you know, that's her example. Sister. She's in, you know, she's in the executive of the Sea Org. And then the parents brought
on your mom's side.
Yeah, involved. So it said, how did her family get involved with Scientology? My mom and dad met in the Toronto Scientology organization.
Right. That was in your interview.
That's how our whole. Yeah. And then parents brought in siblings. Yes. My mom brought in my aunt. My dad brought in his brother who passed away. He was in the Sea Org. He passed away like 5 years ago. He was the senior which is like the senior executive ethics officer over all of ethics. So he was the senior international. His name was Paul Anderson. He's no longer with us. He died from colon cancer. That's my dad's brother. And then my mom and dad are in the Sea Org. My mom is still at the Gold Base editing, doing the event PR editing to make Scientology look like a magical place when David Miscavige does his speeches at the events. My sister's still in. She left the Sea Org apparently with her husband who she met in the Sea Org. And she's out somewhere. I don't know where. Somewhere, but she's definitely still a hardcore Scientologist trying to pay her freeloader bill.
Oh gosh. So, and that was in Toronto where your parents met, right?
Yep. And then they trafficked me here. Yeah. My mom had me in 1986, when she was 6 months pregnant, she left Canada by herself with me and her, obviously, and then went to the Sea Org building that was bought by donators of Scientology, bought this building that the Sea Org member were the staff for the Celebrity Center at the time, which was on La Brea. They were the Sea Org members for the Celebrity Centers, for the Celebrity Center on La Brea at the time. And that was the birthing. And it's now called the Mama Shelter Hotel, which is a very fun, amazing, bougie, kind of hipstery, cool hotel where you can like play games on the bottom floor, go to a restaurant, or have a drink at the bar right there. And it's really cool and it's fun. And they have a whole rooftop. So yeah, I'm going to be having some record album releases and things there. That'll be fun.
Oh my God.
That'll be super fun. Haggis Basher's asking if your family knew Phil and Willie Jones.
I don't know. I feel like they definitely did. I knew Emily Jones very well. I was their daughter, Emily Jones.
Yeah.
She was in RTC. She was Dave Miscavige's steward at the time, personal steward, or assistant steward, whatever. Basically, your little slave. Do whatever I tell you. Fold the iron, the thing, get me Hershey's, whatever the fuck I want right now, go get it. And I was her little bitch, kind of her, because I was in the lower organization in CMO. And so, and she thought I was so cute. Yeah. And she thought I was she's like, oh my God, you are so beautiful. She always told me, her and Valerie, and they would always be like, she's so beautiful and sweet. And she's so cute. And like, look at her. She's so badass. Because I'd always be like, boom, boom, boom. Here you go. You need a stapler. Yes, sir. Here you go. Anyway, so I knew Emily very well, and she was gorgeous. And I knew that I knew that her and Spencer, who was a security guard at Flag, I knew that they had been married. And so like, I got to know her in little sweet ways, but obviously very well meant. I knew her, like she knew me, we knew her. And I would say, hi, Mr. Jones. Hi, Mr. Jones. And she would be like, hey girl, how are you? Like, she was sweet with me.
That's awesome. Okay.
But she was fucking I caught her constantly in tears. Like in the kitchen, in the private kitchen room where I'd prep the food or whatever, get it ready for them. She would come in to grab it to bring to COB, David Miscavige or whatever. And I could see she would, like, her eyes were like red. She was just crying, and I always feel so bad. But that happened a lot in this year. Like, a lot of people would be like getting their TRs in, stop crying, get your TRs in. And it was just so bad because you'd feel like so bad because they worked so hard to like make sure everything was perfect, and then it wasn't perfect, and then they would get in so much trouble.
They get yelled at. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just feel bad because you didn't know what to do. You couldn't sympathize for them. Otherwise you're like agreeing. You're like not really agreeing with the person who just like abused them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Long tangents, long answers.
Long tangents.
Carrie Bemis wants to know what your email address is.
Well, if I could click my things up here. It's Lara, LaraFM music @gmail.com. So there's 2 M's, FMMUSIC. Okay. At gmail.com. Lara, Lara. There's no you in me, all right?
I love it when Scott goes, you know, when I'm talking to Laura, I mean Lara. Lara, 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 Lara.
He's so funny. I've gotten over it. I've gotten over it. And it's
well, of course, but I mean, I just think it's hilarious how his chat gives him absolute hell for it. And they're like, it's Lara, not Laura. And he's like, I'll say it however I want to.
Haggis Basher has added Little Red Radio to her YouTube playlist.
To her YouTube situation.
I was just listening to it the other day with Ashley, and that was I was like, whoa, I haven't heard of this. And I turned, I'm like, this shit is good. We put some weird Jason Spallino and Jason Bradley, both Jasons in the band. So I'd call him like Bradley instead of just Jason. Because I'd say Bradley or Spallino. Because every time I'm like, Jason, they both, what? I'm like, no. Yeah. But yeah, Bradley and Spallino were the ones at the beginning making the music and all the weird beats. And then we would take a fucking shuttle, like a bus down from, me and Jason were roommates, lived in Hollywood, or I was couch surfing on his couch, or vice versa. So we would take his like crappy little old Volvo and like hopefully get down to North Hollywood without breaking down like every single time. Or we'd catch the bus and come down, or Bradley would come pick us up and bring us down and bring us, like, it was crazy. But we made all this music, and like I hear it now and I turn it loud and it sounds so fucking good. And I feel like, yeah, I just love it. There was a point where I was like, I was annoyed of the band not of the band. I was like, when I went to go do my solo music, I was like, oh, good. I'm so glad I'm able to start like writing things that I'm like more sensitive, like more like I should be writing about, like for myself, for my solo self, you know. And the Little Red Radio Band was more like party, wild, and like fun band, which is why we got the gigs and the random shit we did, because it was just the moment in time that it was perfect. But I started listening. I showed my friend Ashley. We were here, you know, you guys know Ashley. Yeah. And I was here blasting it on my nice system, and I was like, I was hearing sounds, and I'm like, oh my god, that's right, like I don't know. So yes, Haggis Basher, if you turn that shit up loud, let me know. There's What Is Love For. What Is Love For is one of my favorite. Hot way is so cool, and I don't know. You guys let me know. You let me know when you hear that
stuff when it's in a minor key.
You're gonna hear.
I totally tend to go. Oh,
me too.
I tend to perk up a little bit.
But we're choir nerds, so
I'm telling you guys,
we're choir nerds.
I know you two, and when you turn this up and just listen to it, you're gonna be like, this is fucking weird. What the fuck? Is this going to blow up someday? And I just feel like Jason is always like, no, because we make awesome music together, and he makes his own amazing music together. That's like so different and completely like more mature, but wild and weird like he is, but it's more mature than it was in Little Red Radio. But I'm like, no, his immature music shit then is so amazing to me now. Like I'm listening to it now and I'm like, this is fucking better today than it was when we were doing it. Well, that's what I gotta say. And tell me if that's the truth.
Well, I love when things are kind of in a minor-esque key and then they open into a major key. Like in my head, it's probably why I love it so much, because you're like, somebody is, that part, and then it goes into the chorus, and it just like goes into the major key and just opens up. Like it just every time it just gives me chills down the back of my neck. I love it. Yeah, I'm
that's interesting. I kind of do that. I kind of like bring it in a little low and then like
then you go up, you modulate.
Yeah, like the somebody is searching for the, and then it's like you are missing. It's like, but it can be better, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, now my dog's fighting to get back in.
Okay, let him in. They've well behaved. They can bark now for a little bit. I just felt like I was trying to turn off an alarm. It was like, I'm like, no.
Amy M wants to know, did you like New York, and what parts of New York did you visit?
Good question, Amy M. I loved New York. When to visit it, I felt like I was an underground rock star that nobody knew, but everybody looked at me like I was a rock star.
Yeah.
No, there was a whole vibe. Like I just felt so like, and I was in New York, you know, and I was couch surfing there. I was there. I was sleeping on the producer's couch in the apartment while I was making in literally his 1-bedroom apartment. Like, so I was sleeping on his couch that was in his bedroom, and then his producing room was right there. And New York in apartments, I didn't realize were so small.
They're
anyway.
shoe boxes. Yeah, they're hotel rooms with kitchens, and that's it.
Yeah, literally, and literally like a little like nook for the kitchenette. Like it's like you have like
you
a
get
stove.
space for like a bed, a sofa.
It was just interesting.
Bathroom,
I learned New York.
Closet.
Yep, I learned New York. I had gone to New York a few times before then, but like I learned New York by going there for the 2 weeks, the 3 weeks straight that I was there hanging out with these 2 producers and just doing these just railing out these songs, 11 songs. I feel like I should show you. Maybe you know what? I'll do a whole, I'll do an episode showing that all the 11 songs.
The origins of LaraFM.
Yeah, and I'll just have them play and we can talk about them. But anyways, I loved New York. So we were in Williamsburg, by the way. And and it's very artsy. To me, it felt very cool and artsy. I went to this my favorite spot. I kept going back to. I was like, okay, well, you guys are producing. I'll be back. I'm gonna walk to I forget what it was called, but it was like the trailer or something where it was just like a trailer. Hold on. Wait. Thank you.
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
And bless you again.
Grazie. So then I would go to this little trailer and I would have this really amazing, just like kale salad. Like it was just, and I never was like kind of bougie really then, but I would go there and get this like shaved Parmesan on this kale salad with this da-da-da and these things. And I was like, why is this so good? I want like 10 of these. So I just felt like I knew nobody, but I would go to Williamsburg and walk to that trailer and there would be other cool people that looked interesting. And I'd be like, okay, I'm in the right spot. I loved being in and because I was with these producers, I ended up going to the theater. What's it called? Williamsburg Theater or something. Mm-hmm. There's a theater out there. They have a bunch of shows and everything. And so I was like, it was awesome. Even though it didn't work out, that the songs, and I don't know if that would ever even be a thing for them or us to work on that, or if I just work totally separate on by myself, doing my own, those songs by myself. But like, even if I still, that whole experience and that whole trip and making the music we did and then being like, damn, like Lara can like sing the bass line. Like that's crazy. So like, I didn't know the keys in music, right? But I would go up and be like, well, the bass line here, I'll go up and I would sing it in the microphone. Mm-hmm. And as he was playing it, he'd be like, okay, go do it. And then he would take that track and just hear what I was doing. And he'd be like, oh, okay, I can play this. Do-dun, 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 do-dun. Dun, 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 dun. So anyways, where was I going with that? The experience in New York to me made me understand like New Yorkers.
Yeah. It is.
I was like, if I was a New Yorker, I would be stuck. If I was a born and raised New Yorker, I would be a born and raised New Yorker, just like I'm a dedicated fucking LA native.
California,
But I think I might have a little cute spot in New York to be bougie and cute if I was that fancy with money and shit. But
I would spot in the Hamptons or something for the summer.
I don't know about that. That's gross. No. More in Williamsburg. But
Minion says, anytime you want to sing Long Island, she's got an open door.
Thank you, honey. And yes, I do. I've been, they did bring me to a lot of places out there. I think I will always want to go back. I never don't want to say it. I loved visiting. I definitely love visiting. So I just love LA. I love all the weathers and the knowing the times of when to be in certain places. And New York is just like, I was also there during snow And when they had all the trash, and I was like, what is going on? How do people do this? Is New York, why is New York that great to be in? And then you're like, oh, look at this cool little pocket of it. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah. My best guy friend lives in the city, so, and he's lived there he's a fashion guy, and he's lived there for 25 years. So he's gone from Hell's Kitchen to the Hamptons, working for Ralph Lauren, and then now he lives in the Village, and he loves it. He loves it.
This next question might be a whole nother live for you, Lara.
Yes.
What do you think about Riley's memoir book?
I didn't
know there was one.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I haven't. The only knowledge I have is because I've been listening to Serge Delmar.
I feel like Riley. How can Riley pull off a book? She's not even that old. How old is she?
Oh no, she's older. She's like, she's in her 30s now. She's like at least 35 because I'm 38, so she's probably 2 years younger than me or something, maybe 3.
Okay.
I don't know.
She just seems so much younger for me. I don't know,
because she's so soft. She's such a soft person. Like, she's strong, but she's like so light and delicate with like her how she is. She's very sweet.
And what I've seen of her on television and that kind of thing. And does your dad have family pictures you could ask for, or do you have any, especially of your mom or you?
Well, funny, you're going through those pictures with Liz.
Did you have those books? Yeah, you have those.
Yeah, we're getting there. Me and Liz do a what a childhood.
Continued.
Yeah, we do. We've been doing what a childhood, or mine says chit chat with childhood trauma with Liz.
What a childhood.
Oh, what a childhood.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, so next we're going to bring up those photos. I have more photos because my mom was obsessed with making sure that I thought I had such a great life. It's so fucking shitty. We're going to fill
Liz's book up with new memories and new friendships and all of the new families that she has.
But I do think that's important for people to have seen even the grooming of like a father and a mom at that age in like 1988. I was like 2 or 3 years old, being at the beach and like, hey, this is, and not even like being in that moment. I don't think my dad was thinking like now today, this is how the family would be, that he would be okay with it. It's just the slow grooming. Like there were times of connections and love and peacefulness, but there's the slow grooming that all of a sudden you're like, how is it that my dad is saying he can't talk to me anymore because this policy letter says it?
Yeah, that's crap.
You're not like, parents aren't supposed to do that. They're supposed to like,
no, they're not.
Like nothing can get in the way. No fucking paper, nothing. Like I don't care. Cool. If my kid's going to jail, then I guess I go to jail with my kid.
Right. Nissa asks, how does Scientology pull off getting people to give up their retirement savings and take out second mortgages on their house?
I'm going to try to answer this very quickly and clear. Because you've done this. You've had mortgages and retirements at lifetimes and lifetimes. You've had families. You've had connections. You've been everything. This lifetime is the lifetime for you to do your auditing and spend your money on this, so that the future of your family,
you're gonna get to do it all over again next time.
But also, and because it's just a game. Life is just a game, and your family and the savings, this is all aberrated. This is just made up, and mortgages and the law and all this. What we need is Scientology in the world. So
you're just another brick in the wall type of situation.
Like, not a fucking joke, Summer Savage. That song is like, the org members listen to that shit all day long, and they still don't get it.
They don't know.
They're allowed to listen to Pink Floyd. Absolutely. And they're like, and they're thinking you, Summer, are just another brick in the wall. They're thinking you don't be that brick in the wall. Look at us. We're free. Don't just be another brick in the wall. So it's amazing how when you change somebody's mind about their thought process about something, they're easily going to cover up shit. And they're easily going to go, okay, fine. I'm in the Scientology game. I don't need to spend my money on retirement anymore because look, my kid's doing the PIRF already and he's 9 years old.
Yeah.
It's just,
Let's invest in Grant Cardone's investments.
Oh, let's do some 10X.
Yeah.
Let's teach our 12-year-old.
We laugh, but it's fucking serious.
Yeah, it's 100% serious.
Literally.
I know it's serious, but it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's fucking disgusting, and it's totally serious, and it's disgusting.
And it is a total scam. And
Grant Cardone
here. I just wanted to say,
it's the same shit.
It's just another
brick in the wall.
Selfless.
Selfless.
Selfless is here. He said something else earlier, and I didn't get to it.
All right. Well, Selfless is freaking awesome. Selfless is a badass musician, period.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be playing with Selfless and Serge Del Mar and Tim and Eric and a few other dancers at South by Southwest March next year. So we're working on that. We'll hopefully
sell your merch.
I can be a plus size dancer in the background.
I'll sell your merch.
It's not a joke. Literally, it's not a joke. It's not a joke. It's very fun and serious art. So if you're serious, get up on it. Make it happen. Maybe you need to come to Texas before we come to I think I should be getting to Colorado though before South by, or no? Do you think it's too snowy and crazy there?
All I know is I live in South Carolina.
I mean,
time for you to get to
wait. North Carolina, South. So that reminded me, me and Danielle Riley would, one of these fun moments that I remember after I was braiding their hair, we were in their fancy condo, and when they go to the Fort Harrison, they close off a whole wing of condos for the Presleys, you know. They close off a whole wing for the Travoltas. They close off, so it's like, don't go. Nobody should be going near there. But because I was the overall Fort Harrison cleaner, the lobby, everywhere in public areas, I went everywhere. So I would always see them by the pool, and I was like, oh, here, and I would get them their shakes and bring them their smoothies by the pool. So you just get to know them, and they're like, hi. They're like, so what's your actual job? Like, what's your post? They would ask me funny questions. Like, to me, I was like, oh, fun. I'm like, well, I'm the public areas cleaning IC. And they're like, what's IC? You know, in charge. So like, oh, so you're just in charge of all the cleaning. I'm like, yeah. And then like, I was like, I think, I don't know if it was Ben or Riley or Lisa, but maybe it was, anyways, one of them asked me, weren't you in another uniform? Because they had seen me at the events at the shrine at the Ruth Eckerd Hall in Clearwater, where they do, and they see me backstage in my nice, CMO when I was 15 years old, freaking running for the executives during the Lisa McPherson case. During the Lisa McPherson case, they also had the events. So when the events happened, they would do the events, but then they would go right back to the case.
Yep.
Right.
It's so insane that I was literally, and anyway, so me and Riley, when people weren't watching and nobody was focused so hard on me being in there, in their condos, I was in there and we were singing this song, that song, North Carolina, go on and raise up, take your shirt off. And they were like Riley and I think it was Gina or somebody and I forget her freaking name. Anyway, we were all doing the dance, and I felt we were all doing this dance. So like, okay, let's make up a dance to that song. North Carolina, go on and raise up, take your shirt off. And they did this thing, twist it around your head, spin it like a helicopter. Yeah. And they did this like slutty thing. Riley and and freaking Serge Del Mar, please help me. Riley anyways. Okay, but their friends would literally be and they did this like slutty thing, and I was like, guys, I can't do that. Like they because they took off, they had bikinis on because they were by the pool, and so they would be like, they took off the shirt, take it off, spin it around your head, spin it like a helicopter, and I was like, that is that is flirty, out 2D. I was like, I cannot do that. I was like, you guys are adults. I gotta go because I probably will get in trouble now. Nice. And I remember that, and I remember but practicing for the dance so much that I never got that song out of my head. So every time I hear that song, I think of that moment.
There's a couple comments for you.
Yeah.
Windy City Dayton Watch. Howdy, ladies.
Hi.
I so hope we can expose these tragic grooming stories to a wider audience, demonstrating the abuses of Scientology.
Yep.
Agreed, Windy
I
City.
agree, Wendy. I think all these videos we do will will be used to expose to a larger audience at different times of our lives.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
Like the documentary I did that didn't come out as it should have, and didn't talk about but it came out however it did and the way it did, whether somebody was manipulated or not. And even that had a section in it just with that phone call with my dad, that even that had such an impact for people to be understanding the like intense mind grooming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. I love that. And all these videos I think will be used later to a bigger audience.
Kelly YouTube fan says, Laura, you were the first protester to acknowledge me in your chat. Thank you.
Aww, Kelly.
And then I think we should finish it up with this question that I've been holding on to for a bit from Tiff.
Okay.
You are so loving and accepting of all people. Were you that way when you were in the Sea Org, and how did that go over?
See, like these are questions. These are questions that, like, as a child in the Sea Org, or even as a human in the Sea Org, you don't. They
teach you to think differently,
right? So you don't think, "Am I loving and accepting?"
Question to answer.
Yeah, you're even lying to yourself. You're saying like, "Oh, of course I'm loving and accepting of all people." Scientology, you know, we can cure anything. So, but yeah, I understand the way you're asking it and I love it, but that's my answer for that part of the question. But this part of, were you that way when you were in the Sea Org? I still was very loving and helpful, and I would feel bad if somebody got in trouble. I would try to not make it too bad. Even when I was in the CMO Messengers org, I was tough, but I was still fun. Everybody knew me as like the fun messenger. I would still fraternize with my friend Susie Flood and Anthony Bolstad and in the recruitment center and things like that. Like, so even though I was a bossy bitch, I was always just on the mission I was doing. I was never like attacking anybody. And then like for the programs I needed to get the flag, you know, the program, the estate, like physical programs for the organization to get done, like, you know, repainting the Fort Harrison side, or, you know, reestablishing the Sandcastle Galley or whatever it is. I would have to write programs up for them. And I was just very focused on getting those targets done on the program so that my stats were up. I was never really the bullying kind. And I was always like, I think that can be handled better, even if it was an executive. I'd be like, don't talk to her like that. You need to handle that better. She's, you know, like I would definitely pull that.
So you were kinder. You just didn't know. Didn't know it. You just weren't aware of it.
I wasn't allowed to be nice. I wasn't allowed. I was supposed to have ethics presence, you know? And I did have it. And I think I had more people respect me actually more because I had a nicer connection with them. Mm-hmm. And because I got targets done and things like that, my work was never questioned. It was always my other out ethics side things that I was like, oh, but what about that?
Again, on brand.
On brand.
I actually have a quick question for you before we wrap things up, and I don't know if Summer has anything for you, but one of the things since I've known you, you know, through a computer screen, that I've always loved about you as a human is, even when you're being like yelled at or have negativity coming your way, you're always so positive and always have a way to frame it in a positive way. Like I could call you and say, you know, this situation's going on. I'm really frustrated. I don't know what to do. And you'd be like, oh, well, you know, and you just have such a positive outlook on life. Where does that come from? Like how, is that just natural? Is that just because of your upbringing that you just choose positivity now? Or is it just part of you?
Is it pure sativa? I mean, what is it?
I think that when good people want to do good things and they're coming to me saying in some form, saying like, I'm trying to do this thing and like, I don't know what's happening, but then this, and I'm making me feel like shit. I literally go, fuck that person. Fuck them. They're disgusting. Who would say something so disgusting like that? And then when we can reprogram our brains to go like, oh, I don't, oh yeah, wow, this person is going to put me into a slump of all the hard work that I've done in my life and all the things I love and actually care about. Like, that's more disgusting for a person like that to make me feel this way. And for a person, when I know I'm trying to be a good person and do good things to make me feel shitty, that person needs to get the fuck away from me. And so I feel like immediately my defense is, don't even worry about it. Keep doing you. Keep doing you. And let that go and watch how much easier life is going to be. Like, so, and it's only from my own experience. I've been bullied and controlled my whole life. So now I'm like, I can totally see when I'm being controlled or bullied. And I'm like, fuck no, I feel shitty. I feel bad and I don't like feeling bad. So I'm like, if I can give that to other people, I can't do it for myself all the time, but I can most of the time see it in other people's situations or what they're going through. So I can give them good advice in that. So I do it for you, but I can't always do it for myself.
Well,
Amen.
We can help you with that.
Yeah.
Summer, do you have anything you wanted to ask Lara before we wrap up?
I always have stuff to ask Laura, but it'll just divulge into a late night chat about bands and music, and then Selfless will have to come on so we can just chit chat until the late night. If you're not subscribed to LaraFM, what are you doing?
What are you doing with your life? Come on now.
Subscribe to Laura right there.
Under a rock.
And if you're on Lara's page and you've never seen us before and want to sub to us, we are at Cultology Twins.
Come on over, baby.
Here, let me see if I have.
Come on over, baby.
It's spelled exactly like Cultology Twins in our email right here. So yeah, we'd love to have you come party. Again, we do game nights every weekend just because it's fun just to have fun. Like sometimes
you don't have to be serious all the dang time.
Yeah, it's just fun to have fun.
We're allowed to have fun together as well. We don't have to always talk about serious things, but it's important to talk about those things when they happen and as they happen, and we're going to continue to do that. Thank you, Pearl Sabby.
I love you, Pearl.
We all love Pearl.
Tiff. Yes, we do.
Love you, Tiff.
Thank you.
Well, Laura, thank you so.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. We adore you.
We do.
And we're just so glad that you came on, and we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you guys for having me. I knew it'd be fun, and I knew I can blab and talk and cut you off and wouldn't get yelled at for it.
No, not here. Not today. Not gonna happen.
My bad habits are okay on your cultology.
Heather has to pull me back and go, squirrel.
We have a new member of Cultology crew.
I love this. I met Alicia G on tour at in Tacoma, I believe, or Seattle? No, Tacoma. I think at she came 3 times to different shows and protesting. Anyways, you, Angel, Alicia, you are amazing. Of course, you became a member. She's so supportive and so loving,
Alicia.
and she's
part of the Banana Party crew. Banana Party,
Banana Party crew.
Banana
Yeah.
Welcome in. We'll be doing our first members only stuff here shortly. I'm pushing buttons that I shouldn't be pushing. That's Summer's job. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you at game night on Friday night. Love you all. Again, thanks, Laura. Have a great night, everybody.
As always.
Bye.
Love you.
Love you guys.
Oh, we're taking it down. We're tearing those walls. Save Bob Ferris now before another falls. Before another falls. Before another falls.